שלא ייגמר לעולם. החול והים, רשרוש על המים, מרק השמיים, תפילת האדם. החול והים, רשרוש של המים, ברק השמיים, תפילת האדם. Oh Lord my God, I pray that these things never end. The sand and the sea, the rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the prayer of the heart, the sand and the sea, the rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the prayer of the heart.
Good morning. I am Rabbi Alon Levkovich. With us are Rabbi Brett Tenser and our cantor Marcy Morris. I hardly slept last night. It might have been because of the huge quantities of pizza and pretzels that I ate to celebrate the end of Passover, but I think that it was more likely because of the anticipation for today. This service makes it more real. And as I was in this weird zone that you're not fully awake, but you're not really sleeping, sometimes we have these weird ideas and weird thoughts. And I remember it was 2:58 a.m. and I was thinking to myself, God, I really hope that there is no social distancing in heaven. First of all, it would make David really miserable. But more than that, he would be awful. He's just not a person who knows how to do it properly. And I thought, wow, they'll put him in this remedial school that teaches people how not to hug, how not to have this special handshake with the hand on top. And he would be probably at the bottom of his class. But the only person I know up there who might be a really good competition is Barry Mendy. This is, Jackie, for you. It's a prayer of grieving over a spouse that I read it many times before today in preparation, and in many ways it was written for you. I miss you every day. I miss your smile and your company and the way you held my hand. I miss the smell of your hair on my pillow and the sound of your voice. I miss our conversations and even our arguments. I miss taking care of you, of holding you in my arms so tight that you almost seem like part of me. The best part of me is gone. It's like a limb that's been amputated. I keep reaching out to touch it, but all I feel is the cold air rushing between my fingers, and it hurts so much. But death cannot extinguish our memory, my love. I thank God for the life we shared. I will always treasure our days together. Your abiding love is my blessing and my comfort. May God take care of you and watch over you with gentleness and with love as you took care of me. May God guard you and protect you until the day when I at last find myself beside you once more. Amen. When Marcy asked you what was David's favorite song, you said he really loved when you sang Turn, Turn, Turn. And this is really an appropriate song. It's taken from the book of Proverbs. Of Ecclesiastes, I'm sorry. And it teaches us the hard truth about life.
To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time for every purpose under heaven. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, 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 and a time for every purpose under heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to reap, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to laugh, a time to weep. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, 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 and a time for every purpose under heaven. A time to build up, a time to break down, a time to dance, a time to mourn, a time to cast away stones, a time to gather stones together. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, 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 and a time for every purpose under heaven. A time of love, a time of hate, a time of war, a time of peace, a time that you may embrace, a time to refrain from embracing. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, 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 and a time for every purpose under heaven. A time to gain, a time to lose, a time to rend, a time to sow, a time of love, a time for hate, a time for peace. I swear it's not too late. a season, turn, 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 and a time for every purpose under heaven.
David could have been not only my friend, but also my colleague. I don't know if many of you know, but when he was in ninth grade, his mother sent him to high school seminary in order to become a priest. It didn't work out this way, and I think that would be a little challenge for your relationship, Jackie. But I have to tell you, he would have been a wonderful priest. Many different priests and different clergy in general have different strengths. David would have been the pastor, the shepherd kind of clergy. You see, today the image of shepherd doesn't mean much, but for the original readers of the Bible, it was a symbol of love, of care, of tenderness. Many of the biblical characters were shepherds, men and women. Abraham, Isaac, Rebekah, Jacob, Moses, David, before he became King David. There is a beautiful description in the book of Genesis when Jacob describes his life as a shepherd. And he tells us how he had to be with his flock all day long. They were in the desert, where the days are brutally hot and the nights are very cold. He had to protect them from predators, and in case when they were attacked by a predator or fell off a cliff, he had to pick them up and tend to their injuries with all the love and care. And it's so easy to see David in this role. But not being a priest was not the end of his spiritual journey. It never ended, this journey. He continued to be active in the Catholic Church. And as Jackie told me, and you, many times, because it was so important, it was David who insisted that they will be part of a synagogue. I don't know if he did it also for your spiritual path that was important to him, for his own, both. So his spiritual and intellectual journey never ended. And we're so proud that he was such an important part of our community, of our spiritual group. In many books that I've read recently, I encountered the phrase, "The smile never reached his or her eyes." Somebody smiles, seems like only with their lips, but never reaches their eyes. And from the context, it's normally a description of a person who has a fake, insincere smile, or a smile that is just a polite one, but a smile that does not convey what a real smile should: warmth, empathy, joy. David had the perfect smile. David's smile started in his eyes, and then it went down to the rest of his face. When you smile with your eyes, you don't just smile with your head because the brain says, oh, now it's time to smile. You smile from your heart, from your soul. And that's exactly what's the message that the lucky recipients of David's smile received. And it did touch their heart and their soul. It was kind of the smile of Mr. Rogers' message. I'm so happy to be with you right now. And at that moment, you're the most important person in the world to me. And the thing was that you got this kind of smile, which often extended to a hug and his special handshake, even if you just saw him the previous day. You know, most of us see each other almost every Friday, but when you saw David, he gave you this welcome, like you give somebody, your best friend you have not seen for 5 years. And I remember when we participated in the Bnei Mitzvah class, and we would meet Thursday night, and then Friday, less than 24 hours, the same greeting. But that was him. This huge heart with so much love and joy when he encountered other people. And they're absolutely right. It is infectious. When you're with him, you feel better. There's nothing you can do about it. I shared with you, Jackie, my thought that I cannot prove, but the more I think about it, the more I think it makes sense. I think that the reason that David did not wake up was that in some layer of consciousness, he understood the ramification of his strokes. He understood what kind of a person he would be if he's out of the hospital. And he didn't want to be this kind of a person. It wasn't because of vanity. He was not a vain person, at least not during the time that I met him. Maybe when you described him with the big red head, and I don't know. But vanity was definitely not his thing. And he didn't do it, Jackie, because he thought that you wouldn't like to have a person, to have him in the house, having to take care of him all the time. Just the opposite. He didn't want to get out because he knew that you would take him in any condition and would dedicate every minute of your nights and days to take care of him. And that's exactly what he didn't want. He didn't want to be a burden. It was an act of generosity, and he was very generous. But more than that, I think he knew that being in a condition like that, he wouldn't be able to love himself. And when you don't love yourself, it's very hard to love others. And David without love is a body without a soul. David did not turn to be Father David, the priest. But his journey, as we saw some of the videos and pictures, led him quite recently to be a bar mitzvah. Bar means son. Ben in Hebrew, son in English. And mitzvah is this untranslatable word. It's much more than a commandment. It's something like a good deed. It's something like doing something very selflessly. So David did not become a Father David, but a son of the good deeds. This master of this ethical, beautiful, selfless, compassionate behavior. We all wish that was not the end of his journey, at least on this earth. This world is too broken for us to afford not having a healer like David was. But there are things we don't get. We miss him dearly. Things will not be the same without him. But for me, it's a wonderful privilege to have known him for all these years. And to get all these moments of the most honest, sincere, authentic warmth, friendship, and love. Rest in peace, David. And as I mentioned, the theme of the shepherd, it's not a coincidence that we like to read in services like that, the 23rd Psalm, that refers to God as our shepherd. Because that's the kind of God we need right now. It's not the almighty, super powerful God that we live for other times. Now we need a God who acts like David, with the utmost love, tenderness, and care. So let's read the psalm together. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. That's the only way you can do it.
First of all, I want to start out by thanking everyone for all your prayers and your support and your kindness over the last several weeks. Thank you just doesn't seem enough to express my unending gratitude. But honestly, I just don't have any other words at this time. To my dearest David, my soulmate and the love of my life, we had 35 incredible years together and 33 years of a very special marriage. I know because you told me that you knew how very much I loved you. And because you also told me I know how very much you loved me. Not only did we tell one another, but we had the gift of cherishing one another and showing one another with our actions and taking care of one another in such a very special and apparently unique way. Over the last several weeks, the messages that have poured in have all included the very same thoughts about all your wonderful qualities. They were things like the most wonderful human we ever met, your kind smile, your easy manner, the best and happiest person I've ever met, the best of the best. I don't know a single person as wonderful as David, so special to so many. He could always make me smile. He was so upbeat. What a wonderful man. Easygoing, a true gentleman, a gentle man. Great hugs, contagious laugh, awesome guy, amazing person, a smile that lit up a room, wonderful and funny, and there just aren't many like him. About our marriage, we were described as, you always seem like newlyweds. You can just see how much you cherish one another, that you just adored and loved me dearly. And it has always been obvious how deeply you two loved each other. And whenever I thought of you, I would always think of the very special gift that you and David shared. Honey, one of the best gifts you ever gave me was that of joining the Temple Beth Am. And if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't have had this wonderful community. This past year was so very special. I remember at your conversion and your bar mitzvah that you said how complete and proud you felt, and that you had never felt so at home and in so much peace. You said that you were most proud of being a Jew and also being a veteran. And I got your flag here today. And I was so very moved by these words. The sense of completeness and pride you shared will be with me forever. And it makes me so very proud to have been your wife. Remember what we have always said. Forever and always. You will always be the love of my life and in my heart forever. Rest easy, honey. Thank you for the gift of such a special and wonderful marriage. Until we meet again with all my heart and with all my love, forever and always.
Thank you, Jackie. I know it was really hard, but it was important for these words to come from your mouth, even though many of your friends would have loved to do it for you, but thank you. It was so important for us to hear it. So obviously we don't have many people here. Many people would have liked to be here, but we all know the reason. But with some help of technology, we have some eulogies that we will hear. So Brad, do you want to play the first one, please?
Hi, this is Joanne Rosenberg. Mark and I have known David for over 30 years. He was one of the kindest people we have ever met. Nothing flustered him. He didn't know a stranger. He always wanted to help in any way. We started going to Florida on spring break even before we had children. We stayed with Jackie and David many times, including with our babies, up until our kids were toddlers, at which time I had to find another place to stay so I could relax. Kids running around an all-adult house wasn't exactly relaxing for Mom, even though it never bothered David or Jackie. We were lucky enough to rent the house next door to them for many years. They've watched our kids grow up and have had an impact on all our lives. Last year, we were blessed to enjoy a river cruise with the Haldermans down the Rhine. It truly was one of the best trips ever. We are so thankful we had that opportunity and those memories. This past January and February, we were lucky to spend a month next door to both Jackie and David, enjoying dinners together and just hanging out. Grateful for all those good times. We will miss David so much. It's hard to believe we will never see him again, but so happy we had the chance to know him. God bless him and keep him. May you rest in peace, David.
Thank you. And I would like to invite David Elias, who is one of the very few people who is actually here in our sanctuary.
Thank you, Rabbi. And Jackie, I was so proud that Jackie asked me to say a few words, and I wrote down 5 words. And I really want to kind of give a sense of who David was. And in engineering, you're always faced with certain problems, certain issues that needed solutions. And as you work through those solutions, you come up with answers that solve the problem. But occasionally, rarely, some solution is so simple and so perfect that it's considered to be an elegant solution. I found David Halderman to be an elegant person. He had these qualities that when you were with him, you knew that you were with someone special. And even though I never saw him involved in meditation, he also possessed not only an inner peace, but an outward peace. When you were with a group with David or with David individually, you knew that there was peace in that room. There was a solid stability to that room. And he also, every word I've ever heard him speak was gentle. He wasn't quiet, but he was gentle, a quality that really set him apart. Many people are easy to listen to. Many people are instructive, but rarely do you get those qualities with gentleness. And that's something that I know I won't ever forget. The last thing about David specifically is his devotion to Jackie. You couldn't be with David more than a few minutes to where he wouldn't talk about Jackie. He would talk about arranging to get her water out to her trip. He would talk about everything that he was doing for Jackie. And this level of devotion, though not unique, is certainly a special quality that he had. And finally, I want to share something I learned 38 years ago when I lost my father. And I was handed a morning booklet. I can't remember who gave it to me, but in there were certain readings. And the one specific reading that I remember to this day, and I would want to share with Jackie, it's from the Babylonian Talmud. And it simply says, "Tears shed in mourning. Tears shed in mourning for an upright person are counted by the Lord, blessed be he, and placed amongst his treasures." David Halderman absolutely was an upright person. And his memory will continue, and know that the tears that we shed today will be at a special place, and that we'll get to see it again. Thank you.
Thank you, David. I was listening to you, and it just dawned on me that sometimes we speak differently because of the person we refer to. So your words were so elegant and gentle. and beautiful. Thank you. Brett, would you please play the next?
In memory of David Halderman. David was a husband, a father, a grandfather, but to me, he was a friend, the kind of friend that was like a brother, and the kind that you think of as family. Our kids and grandkids called him Uncle David. He was one of the kindest and most genuine men that I've ever known. He could always find the ways to be upbeat, like turning a trip to the mall with the wives into an ice cream and people watching adventure. On a recent escape to Ohio from a hurricane, he spent time with me at our recycling center. He was like a kid in the candy store while he searched out the perfect treasure and spent time organizing things we had just never had time to focus on. For me, he was an outstanding sounding board. He just knew people. He knew how to gain a stranger's trust and took time to do things right. He loved helping people, taking care of their homes, taking someone to a lunch or a movie just to change the scenery. And the movies, not sure which he liked more, the movies or the popcorn. I just know he was always the perfect companion. This seems so unreal, and I expect the phone to ring or a knock at the door and that smiling face and hug waiting. This was not supposed to happen, so I am not going to say goodbye. This is just until we meet again. I love you and miss you, my brother by choice. Sandy and I want to sincerely thank the heroes without capes who have enveloped Jackie and taken care of her during these past few weeks and continue to be there when we cannot. With much love, Bernie Sensor.
For more than a decade, the highlight of our family spring was spending a week with David and Jackie in Florida. It was there, while pushing 3 feet tall, that my brother and I remember meeting this mysterious man with a striking salt and pepper beard, perhaps more salt than pepper, and someone we thought was just impossibly tall. We had no idea then how generous, fun-loving, and up for anything he was, or how he would leave an indelible impression on our formative years. He taught my brother and I how to blow bubbles in the pool when we were scared to leave the pool steps. He played the grooviest tunes our young ears had heard, Hey Jimmy Buffett and Fleetwood Mac, and he introduced us to Abbey.
Do we have enough life insurance? How would just one of us afford the house, car, Jason's college?
Ethos Life.
Ethos Life?
Go to ethoslife.com and get your personalized quote in seconds and apply online in minutes, often without a medical exam. And Ethos is very affordable.
Hey, I just got my...
Very affordable.
Putt game and magician that made balloon animals. Suffice to say, we were obsessed. From breaking matzah over Passover to judging our countless cannonball jumps, our childhood and lives would not have been as joyous without his hearty laughter and kindness. He was a light of pure goodness, and we feel eternally lucky we had a chance to soak up his shine. We will miss him greatly.
Of the three prayers that are associated with funerals, the one we're about to recite talks about what happens after we die, which is a question that I've been asked a lot lately. And the idea is that the soul rises to be with God for eternity. And I really hope and I pray. He was such a sweet man. Such a sweet man. El Male Rachamim Shochein V'amromim Utzei Mincha Nechona Tachat Konfei Chashchina Im Kedoshim Utorim Kezohar Harakia Maschirim Et Nishmat David Shalach Leolamo Baal Harachamim Yastireu Beseter Kanafav Leolamim Yitzror v'yitzror ha'chaim et nishmato Adonai hu nachalato V'yanuach b'shalom al mishkavo En l'rasei Amen. Compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to David, who has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let him find refuge in your eternal presence, and let his soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is his inheritance. May he rest in peace. And let us all say, Amen. The prayer that we just recited is for the soul. The words of the mourner's Kaddish are really about us. It's about how we continue to go on after we lose someone so close. We join together in the words of Kaddish Yatom, the mourner's Kaddish. If it is your custom, please rise. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael ba'agala u'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevorach Leolam Ulalmei Almaya Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar V'yitromam V'yitnaseh V'yithadar V'yithaleh V'yithalal Shmei Dikudusha Rihu Leila Mikol Birchata V'shirata Tushbechata V'nechemata Damiran Be'alma V'imru amen. Yehei shelama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen.
Thank you all for joining us. I know that there are many more people who watch us on live stream than are here. It was challenging to find the appropriate way to have a service for David under the circumstances, but I think that he would have been proud and happy. We did the best we could with so much love and appreciation for this rare, wonderful man. Be safe and healthy. Thank you.
Shalom bimramav, hoyaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, imru, amen. Yaseh shalom.